My name's Kelly Grettler. I am a local author here in Cibolo. Thank you, Shirts Library, for doing this. I've really enjoyed coming to your author fairs in the past, and this is actually kind of a cool way to do it too, because then I get to stay in pajamas. Anyway, let me tell you guys a little bit about myself. I've been a little quiet this past year because I've been really busy working on my newest book. Really excited about this one. I got the idea to write it when I was in Ireland on a trip with my husband, a dream trip, bucket list trip. And we were going to see these amazing cliffs called the Sleeve League Cliffs in the wild Atlantic, what do they call it? The Wild Atlantic Way. And our driver had to stop at one point to unlock a gate. And then he drove through, and then he got back out and he locked the gate, this tiny little wooden gate. And I remember asking him, what's up with the gate? And because it was just completely wilderness out there. And he's like, oh, the gate's to keep the sheep in. And I don't know why I thought about that, for the rest of the trip. They're just random sheep here and there. I loved it. So it just really inspired me, and I remember it was sitting in the airport waiting to fly home that I got the idea for the book. And I wrote the entire outline for the book on the flight home. So be sure to stay tuned for that book. I'm real excited about it, and I'll let you guys know as we get closer to releasing it. I worked together with an amazing illustrator from Russia named Daria Beklemasheva, and we had the best time getting to know each other. She's in Russia, I'm here during a pandemic. Come on, it's pretty cool. I'm also the author of 10 other children's books. So when I think about why I write all these books, they kind of represent different times in my life. My first book that I ever published, Underneath the Mimosa Tree, I wrote that one when I was rocking my youngest when he was an infant and he wasn't falling asleep. So I just started talking. I was singing to him, everything, and he still wasn't falling asleep. So at one point I just started talking to him so he could just hear my voice, and hopefully I would bore him to death. And I was telling him about this tree that I wanted to plant in the backyard because I'd been seeing a lot of them around town where we lived at the time. And they were mimosa trees. And so as I was telling him about it, I was softly kind of rhyming, because for some weird reason that's fun for me, making up rhymes. And about halfway through, he fell asleep. And I stayed up and I wrote it all down that night. And it took me probably over 10 years before I got that book published. And that was my first. And since then, as I publish books, they kind of represent different times of my life, like Sweet Tea by the Live Oak Tree. That one was more about, kids growing up, the circle of life, experiences that they might have, and then coming full circle. And it's a little bit sadder. It makes the mamas cry, which I kind of always like that. Really love that one, Sweet Tea by the Live Oak Tree. And then God Always Hears. I wrote that one about a year and a half ago after coming out of a health crisis that I went through. I actually went through breast cancer. A lot of people might not know that about me. And I was having a hard time finding my creativity on the other side of that. And a really good friend of mine told me, why don't you write about it? So because I write kid lit, I decided to write it from the point of view of a child and just facing a surgery and a hospital stay and how to get through it with the positivity and the power of prayer. Because that's how I got through it. And it's a really beautiful book. That one was illustrated by Solomia Kalinichenko, an 11-year-old at the time in Ukraine. It's a gorgeous book. I'm really proud of that one. And all my seasons books, I wrote those when my kids were toddlers, and we'd be out making snowmen or going to the beach or trick-or-treating and just all the fun things that you do in the different seasons. I've got another one called Not Nap Time. I wrote it after my oldest, Johnny, basically tore his curtains down by accident, because Johnny's always been a good kid, but he did not want to be up in his room taking his nap. And when I came up, when nap time was over, his curtains were on the floor. I was like, what did you do? Anyway, it just gave me an idea for a book about a little boy that doesn't want to take his nap. There's that one. Oh, Monster. A Monster's Bad Rap. That one I wrote about my experience with a closet monster when I was a little girl. I was afraid of a closet monster, and my family got me to stop being afraid they gave me Christmas presents from the closet monster, and it kind of changed my perspective. And so I wrote a book about a closet monster getting a bad rap. He's not so bad after all. And a local talented girl named Natalie Cohen, she was 17 at the time, illustrated that book for me. And she came with me to the Shirts Library to promote it. Yeah, that's a real fun one. I think that's it. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to me, and big thanks again to the people at Shirts Library for letting us do this, because us local authors, we're just trying to get our books seen. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this, and check out some of my books at www.kellygrettler.com, or you can search for them on Amazon, or you can follow me on Facebook at @GrettlerK. And be sure to stay tuned for Maisie McGillicuddy's Sheep Got Muddy. Bye, guys.